Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jarvis Sam Show. I am your host, Jarvis Sam. It feels amazing to be back. I've been under the weather. I've had a number of issues going on over the past few weeks, but oh my goodness, it feels so good to be back with a brand new episode. Thanks for joining wherever you're joining us from. We appreciate it. And thanks for your continued support. If you're just finding this podcast, click subscribe right now wherever you're getting it. Click subscribe because um, you're gonna love the show. So you might as well stay plugged in. I got a great episode for you this week. Before we jump into this week's content, I want you to check out my website, www.jarvissam.com. Go follow me on Instagram. That's Jarvis Sam _ on Instagram. And you can also follow the show's Instagram page at the Jarvis Sam Show. Also on Instagram. I'm on all that other stuff. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and everything. Just search Jarvis Sam. You'll find me there. But I'm most active on Instagram. So check out me on Instagram. It's June. It's finally June. June is the anniversary month of the podcast. So we're making 1 year this month. Toward the end of this month is the 1 year anniversary of the podcast. And it's going to be nice, man. I got some special stuff lined up and I'm really excited to get to it. So around the last week of June, we will do a big celebration and don't want you to miss any of that. So a lot has been going on. A lot has been going on. So recently we have opened things back up. Outside is wide open again. So yeah, outside is a thing again. So that's exciting for a lot of us, right? Like we've been locked up in the house. Nothing's open. If it is open, it's, got to have a mask on and, it hasn't been normal, right? And for me, like I'm a huge concert guy. So like it sucked not being able to have concerts and that kind of thing. So it was nice having the versus battles, man. Those versus battles really held me down. Some of them did. Those versus battles, most of them are really good. So I definitely enjoyed those because I'm such a concert guy, right? I love my basketball events and whatnot. But man, since outside is open, a lot has gone on. So Joe Biden, his first few months as a president, man, the major thing he said he was going to focus on was the COVID-19 and whatnot. For what it's worth, like he's come out and he's done his thing. Like he's gotten a lot of vaccines out here in rotation. And so having said that, he's, with so many vaccines available, it has allowed, businesses to resume and for concerts to resume and for sporting events to resume. And so people are back. People are outside. I think last weekend, Memorial Day weekend was huge. I think that was like the season premiere of outside. And there's no turning back. I know out here, Galveston Beach was packed and Surfside was packed and and every place you go to is packed. People are back outside and down here, if you're vaccinated, masks are optional. So and I think that's actually the CDC regulation. It's once if you're vaccinated, they're lifting, if you're inside an establishment, like you don't have to wear a mask. So the caveat to that is the fact that you can't obviously tell who's vaccinated and who's not. You can't go around asking people for their vaccine card. There's a HIPAA violation. So I'm sure you got a lot of people walking around here who haven't been vaccinated that are doing their thing, just happy to have that mask off. But I think that's a risky thing. I think it's a risky thing either way. But it is what it is. But back to events are back, right? So events are back. So last year, basketball resumed late in the summer, and they played in the bubble. They played what's called the bubble. So it was basically nobody in, nobody out, and they were getting tested like daily and whatnot, and it was super strict. No fans. It's just the players, and it got a little crazy um, because you had guys leaving the bubble to go get some wings at Magic City, or um, bringing chicks onto and sneaking chicks into the bubble and doing that kind of crazy stuff. So it got a little crazy out there. But this year we're back, and so now it's the playoffs, and it's great to see basketball with fans and everything. But these fans have been wilding out at these games. So we see Trae Young getting spit at. We see Russell Westbrook getting the popcorn tossed at him. We see Kyrie Irving getting a bottle tossed his way. And these fans, man, they're just wild out. I have a couple of things that I think um, correlate to why this happens, right? So um, the fans are back, right? And they've been locked up for so long, so now they're happy to be back, and it's cool. It's cool to be back. It's cool to kick back, have a good time. I know you've been locked up and whatnot, but I think one of the things is I think sometimes people think because you are like at your place of work, they can test you, right? Because they're paid a healthy salary as NBA players. Like they are at this point getting paid an enormous amount of money to play this game. And I'm a huge proponent for athletes being paid for their talents and compensated, because they do what a lot of people can only dream to do. Um, and it's because of their hard work, their dedication. They also do things that the average person can't do. They work out a lot. They practice a lot. They put up a lot of jump shots. They've done this many times in their life, and it's that dedication. And now, because of that dedication, they do this. They play this game at a high level, and at the highest level. And now you are coming in to see them, whether you're watching on TV at home, whether you bought a ticket to get in the arena and watch it. You are watching these super athletes who have trained their entire life, in most cases, for these moments. So, yes, I believe they deserve to be compensated for their skill. Now, I will say it I think some of the contracts now are a little crazy, because when you look at some of the mid-level players that are making more than Michael Jordan made, as a player, it's kind of like, but things were structured a little differently. Things was a different time, but those guys are crazy paid. And so I think because they're crazy paid and they're supposed to be professionals and whatnot, these fans, they go and they get a little drunk, and they do something crazy, and they really think that they're, I don't know if they think they're untouchable, or if you do something to me, you're going to get in trouble or whatnot. Listen, if any of those fans remember what happened in 2004 when Ron Artest had the bottle thrown at him after he had already had an altercation on the court with another player, and it turned into this big old melee. They call it the Malice at the Palace. You can look it up on YouTube if you've never seen it. Malice at the Palace. It was the biggest brawl cluster F that you've ever seen. I remember I was actually watching that game, and I actually turned it off because it was a boring game. And I woke up the next morning, and it was like my thing. As soon as I wake up, man, I turn on ESPN and kind of catch up on what's going on. And I'm looking and I'm like, what the hell? And it just just watching this thing unfold, and I watched it a million times because Sports Center kept running the same clip over and over and over. It was like a little 20-minute cycle of Sports Center, of them showing everything that unfolds, and then they show like some interviews and whatnot. And I watched it a million times. So many people got involved. Fans were on the court. They were getting punched by Jermaine O'Neal, and it just was crazy. But in that moment, I felt like Ron Artest, like he did what he felt he like needed to do to defend himself. And I think when guys do that, not only are they defending themselves, but they're representing like the entire locker room all across the league. Like we're entertainers, we're athletes, but at the end of the day, we're human and we are to be respected. And I hate that it turned into such a huge ordeal. It really, when you turn on, if you're an outsider looking and you just turn this on and you see all these athletes, punching regular people, yeah, it looks crazy. But like at the same time, like a regular person instigated this, so a regular person finna get these hands, you know, and and that's what. And I remember after that because I've been a huge basketball fan most of my life, and as an adult, man, I've tried to go to as many Rockets games as I can. So like I went to a lot of Rockets games around that time. And I remember after that happened, like there were such strict protocols on things, and they made several announcements. If you're caught tossing anything anywhere, you will be ejected, and this, that, and the third. And it was tough. Like they made a point where if you bought like a bottled beverage, they took the caps off and you couldn't have the caps. It's just that they really strengthened the protocols around these things, and you didn't see anything happen, for many minutes. So this is the first time in many years that we've actually seen this. But it's like, just because you're at your place of work does not give anyone the right to disrespect you and to try you. There's also this clip that just went viral where this guy was in Walmart and he rams the Walmart employee with a shopping cart and then spits on him. And then the Walmart employee, even though there was one guy trying to restrain him, but couldn't hold on to him. He came over, whop, knocked him smooth out. And I don't know what happened to that employee. He may have gotten fired. I mean, this clip went viral, so yeah, he probably got terminated. I mean, I don't think Walmart can justify doing that. But I think it's ridiculous that if he did, I mean, I hope the young man kept his job because um, even though this clip went viral, even it's just a small clip. I don't know what possibly could have happened, but there's no way this employee was that disrespectful to this customer to where he had to ram him with a shopping cart and spit on him. So those things are really, really malicious. And like, should you really be held accountable in those situations when you have no other choice but to defend yourself and to defend like your respect and who you are? Like, some people have got to know they can't try you like that, you know? And I think that companies have to draw a line somewhere. And the customer's always right and all that, right? Or whatever. Like, there ain't nothing right about hitting that customer, or I'm sorry, hitting that employee with that shopping cart, because that shopping cart would have been more than enough for me to want to put hands on that guy. And to cap it off with a spit in the face, are you kidding me? So I've worked in retail for many years, and I know how crazy it can get. I know how you're dealing with the public, and you have to deal with so much. You deal with so much as a worker for the public, and I truly believe that everyone needs that experience. I think that everyone needs to do one or two things, if not both. I think everybody needs to work somewhere that's like food service related, where you have to deal with the public, like as a waiter or um, a fast food type person, or in retail, because it's it's major sensitivity training for this type of stuff. Because so many times, if you have not worked in these fields, you don't understand exactly how cruel the public can be, and you take for granted how hard these people work and are underpaid and overworked, right? And then to deal with that. But again, pay has nothing to do with it, because I just spoke about the NBA players. They're well paid. Nobody deserves to have a bottle tossed at them by someone who paid to come see you, right? And I remember a long time ago, I worked at a grocery store, and I was an assistant manager, and it was busy time of the year. And I remember we were like in the back, and we were like sorting through pallets and trying to get merchandise on the floor and whatnot. And we got a call from got paged like, hey, we need a manager over here. And so we call and say, hey, what's going on? And say, hey, there's an irate customer here at the service desk. Like, if one of y'all can come over and help us out. And typically, I handle those type of things as an assistant manager. You de-escalate the situation. Even though I was super young, like I was pretty good at de-escalating the situation one way or another. So I was confident that, hey, it's an irate customer, whatever. I'll give him his money back, or whatever, talk to him. It is what it is. Well, I get there, and of course there's no respect, because I'm this young black guy and he's a white guy, and there's no way, I'm worthy of talking to him. He's expecting, a middle-aged white guy. Ironically enough, one of my subordinates was a middle-aged white guy, and he assumed he was the manager, or the head manager. He was a manager, but he actually reported to me. Um, and so the customer wanted to talk to him and not me. And the guy's adamant, like, hey, I'm not, in charge, like this guy is. And he just starts, oh, absolutely not. And so I'm like, sir, I'm going over there like, hey, I'm here to help. What can I help you with? And, just totally disrespectful to me. Ends up calling me the N word. And oh my God, that went left. Again, this wasn't even physical, but a white man calling me the N word in front of so many people. I wasn't going for it. I had a shopping cart. I pushed and hit him with the shopping cart. I didn't give it to it with all my force like I wanted to, because in my mind, I'm like, this will go crazy if, and honestly, at that point, I was ready for whatever. But I think in my mind, I wanted to just graze him enough to where it made him want to get physical with me, so that I could have mopped the floor with his behind for calling me the N word. But he didn't. He was too much of a coward. He knew he didn't stand a chance against a 6'3" black male in my domain. So he just goes crazy and, did y'all see that? And, and all this stuff. By this time, a manager that was over me came out, and then the other white guy that's actually under me, they kind of helped escort him out. And through the whole situation, he's yelling, there's a crazy nigger in there. And, like just making all these obscene remarks on, while being tossed out of the store. So after it was over, I called the store manager, and I told him what happened. The store manager at the time was a brother, and he and I were pretty cool. And I was very transparent about what happened. I told him, hey, he called me the N word. I lost my cool a little bit. Um, I'm like, I'm sure he's going to make it a bigger thing than what it was. I hit him with a shopping cart, but it was not as definitely as not as hard as I wanted to. I said, so, it is what it is. Maybe I should have walked away. I get it, but it was the heat of the moment. He understood. He understood the gravity of that situation. He understood that I was a young man and probably had never dealt with something like that, and the pain that can kind of muster up inside you, right? And so he understood. He told me, he was going to reach out to the district manager and whatnot, because he wanted to get to him before the dude did and all that. And so it is what it is. Anyway, in that conversation, he, he's an OG. He's trying to give me game or whatever, and he's like, basically like, hey man, it may not be the last time that happens to you. It may not be. He said, I've been called that a million times. And then he gave me this scenario where one of his former coworkers and good friend ended up getting terminated because a customer spit on him and he beat his behind. And I told him, I said, look, I said, I can't promise you that I'm not going to do the same thing if somebody spit on me. He said, oh, no, I get it. He said, I'm just letting you know, like he was letting me know, like they get disrespectful towards us out here. And you got to be ready for whatever. And, how you react is how you react. But, just know that consequences come with that, especially when it's dealing with white folks. So, I had to really sit with that because that don't sit well with me, that, a company won't protect me for being spit on by a customer like that. That's not cool. I also get that a company has to protect their interest and whatnot, but I also believe that humans are the most like valuable resource to a company. Like we make that thing go. Now, some employees are pieces of crap and they don't make your company go and whatnot. Well, hey, maybe when they in a goofy situation, maybe you have to deal with them. But like somebody that's been tenured, somebody that's been upstanding, somebody that gets results, and that, hey, this probably was him, defending himself. Like you might gotta let him make it. But I'm saying that to say this, like people think that because you are giving a service for them or because they are coming to your job, like that they can just treat you any kind of way. So sometimes, you might have to make an example out of somebody. I can't say that I didn't want Russell Westbrook to kind of run up in that audience and handle old buddy. I can't say I didn't want Kyrie Irving to run up in that audience and go handle that Celtics fan. But yeah, I definitely wanted Trae Young to put hands on the dude that spit at him. He ain't spit on him, but it was still his direction. It's still disrespectful. And, you know, I'm, it's probably good that those things didn't happen. Trae Young is advancing to another round of the playoffs, and things would have been totally different if he hadn't. But, at the same time, it's like enough, it's only so much you can take, and people got to stop with the foolishness, man. That's just foolishness. So I think that's a big part of what happens, is that happens. Another thing I think people are just so like ready to be out because they've been locked up so long that now that they out, they getting extra drunk when they go somewhere and they acting extra crazy when they go somewhere. They're making up for all that time that they were locked up or not able to go anywhere. And they just showing out. I mean, not just these situations with the actual players, but there was a situation I saw on the news last week where at the Astros game, two fans got into it, and man, one boy put Paul, the Dodgers fan, I ain't gonna lie, handled up on my Astros fan. I'm not sure what led to the altercation, but man, the one guy was bloody. Um, there was another situation here at a club in Midtown where a couple of people started shooting, and police deputy ended up shooting and killing one of the guys that was shooting and whatnot. It's just that they're acting crazy, man. There was the mass shooting at the concert in Miami, and two people died from that. It's just like, I think people are just that they're making up for lost times, and this is not the productive way to do it. I think the productive way to do it, man, is to go and enjoy the time with your family, with your friends, and be responsible, be happy to be out. But man, it's just sad. It's just sad. It makes you not want to go to events. It makes you not want to be a part of that, because you just know, if these, like at the sporting events, that if fans are keep this trend going, eventually we're going to get another Malice in the Palace, and that ain't cool. Or we're going to end up with a shooting, and that's definitely not cool. So, it sucks that we're here. It really does. It sucks that we're everything's back open, but yet everybody's acting a fool. Everybody's acting a fool. So I I I think we gotta. I think security measures need to be a little tighter in place, because of that. Um, at the end of the day, like, the numbers don't lie. If X amount of instances happen in the course of a year, and they didn't happen all year last year, those instances are about to happen now, because people got to make up for lost times. So, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm so excited to get back out, like, and do something, right? Like, I can't wait till I get to my first concert. But you best believe I'm gonna be on high alert, because I know how people act, and I know what to. I already know. I already know you gotta stay ready out here. Yeah, it's so good to be back, man. It's been an interesting road here in 2021 for me. You know, I think 2020 wasn't all that bad for me. I 2020 was like 2020 was like a year where it was like, man, I get to truly do what I enjoy to do. And that's stay out of people's way. Like, I'm totally justified, like, just stay out of people's way. Um, as much as I do like to go to concerts and everything, um, as in a day to day kind of setting, man, I just like to be to myself. I like to stay out of people's way. I like to keep my distance. I've always thought people were nasty, so it just kind of justified my ways. It's funny. I was actually talking to a friend about that the other day, and he's like, same thing. Like, man, I just it, the COVID protocols kind of worked for me. um, but yeah, I mean, I got a cold for the first time in like 2 years last week, because man, we've been masked up. We've been masked up. So, how many people do you know that had the flu last year? They either had COVID or nothing, right? And you knew the fools was gonna get COVID because they was out and about with their masks off the whole time and whatnot. But people that was following protocol, you ain't been sick. So hey, uh, I don't know. People nasty. I might, I, I might still be wearing a mask for the foreseeable future in places I'm kind of leery about. Around my family and friends, hey, I'm gonna do my thing. But when I'm out and about, man, I'm still masked up out here, because man, I totally enjoy not being sick and not being a part of people's germs and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna keep the mask thing going. But yeah, man, since the last time I've been on, man, J. Cole dropped that fire album too. Man, that album was fire. If y'all ain't heard that J. Cole, go get go stream that Cole right now. I thought it was a great album. He that guy didn't miss. It's some guys that make music, man, and they don't miss, and he's one of them, man. Um, One of those albums that you can just press play on and let it do its thing, man. And I there's only one J. Cole album I really don't like, and it's that the Illuminati or whatever it was called. That one was one. It was okay. It wasn't bad, but the rest of them, man, are just straight playthroughs for me, man. And I love J. Cole, man. So, but yeah, man, I just have to get on here and talk about these people wilding out at these games, man. But I tell you what, man, if you're doing these outings, man, just protect yourself, protect your family, because just stay on high alert because people crazy out here. But yeah, thanks for joining me for another episode. I'll be back next week for another episode. I'm excited to just be back to be feeling good, to not have nothing crazy going on. And yeah, I'll be back again with another episode next week. Y'all check for it. Again, hit the subscribe button wherever you're at. Thanks again for joining. Again, follow me at JarvisSam _ on Instagram. Check out the website, www.jarvissam.com. And I will be back again. Y'all take it easy out there. Later.